know a lot of them are blind to their own aggressive racism and all those things. But once you start having that conversation of what does the racism that people that look like me put out there, once you start having those conversations and you realize you are doing those same things and you do not change your behaviors, you're choosing that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that is your lineage and you're comfortable with that.
Because it's easy to walk, as I said this earlier, it's easy to walk in privilege. If you've never been touched by it, then you don't have to change.
Yeah.
This is a place where we bring art, culture, politics, and business all together, and we do it every week right here on this podcast. And today, I got a new group of people with me today, and they're not a new group. They're the same people we with every Tuesday. I got the whole crew with me today. Next to me, I have none other than Dr. Burton. She's been here with us before.
It's
you guys
me,
seen her plenty
on
of time.
the podcast.
We also have Judge Nelson. He's here with us, and you always know Judge Nelson when he's in the house. He always got something to say. And guess what? We got a new person here. We finally got her from behind the board. She's actually going to be here, and she's here to express herself because she always got something to say and keep us abreast of what's going on in the community. So we got our whole crew here today. That's none other than Black Unicorn, DJ Unicorn. We finally got her to get from behind those boards, and the person who keeps all the sound and keeping everything going on our program is none other than the Black DJ, Black Unicorn. She's on our program. Check out the gear she got on today, y'all. She wore the big hat.
She rocking the lime green.
Ready to do her thing. We got the whole crew here today.
The Black DJ.
DJ, Black Unicorn. That's what we got in the house.
Yes, DJ Black Unicorn, a.k.a. Uni. Hello, everybody.
Yes, the DJ over there at 95.9 FM. She's on. So while we got it on you, you tell us what's going on in the land, Unicorn.
Oh, it's a lot going on in the land. It's always a lot going on in the land. We just had our emergency community meeting last night. Tuesday evening is every second Tuesday at City of God Church on 152nd Street. Pastor Carl Early for allowing us this space. And the People's Office is getting up and going. The neighbor campaign is up and going. I'm super happy. They loved my graphic design for the sign, and it's a go. It's a go. I'm super excited for spring. I'm super excited to see neighborhoods come back together. And that's what Cleveland needs.
Yeah.
About your program and what you guys were doing, the neighbor signs that you guys go. So break it down to let everybody know exactly what's going on.
I appreciate that sincerely because we are accepting members. Now we are officially accepting members. We dropped the member sign up page yesterday.
Members who are willing to have the signs in their yard to say
that they are willing to be a part of the Hello Neighbor campaign.
So if you're a free neighbor, what does that mean? What makes a good neighbor?
So what makes a good neighbor is the fact that you are willing to look out for your neighbors. You are willing to be that neighbor that someone can knock on the door and say, hey, do you have some sugar? Or, hey, I have something crazy going on. Can you watch the kids in the backyard for 30 minutes? And you feel comfortable doing that with us neighbors. Not only do you know their name, you have a relationship with them. The Hello Neighbor campaign point is to build that trust in the community back with each other, where we know each other's names, where we can talk to each other. We don't even talk to each other anymore. We don't stop to say hi. We don't do anything. So the People's Office, where you will be a part of a resident-led body that consolidates community voice into organized action and measurable outcomes. So once we put the signs out there and more people sign up, we want at least 300 by March. That is the goal. Once you sign up and you are a part of the People's Office, again, it's a resident-led body. When I say we all are making decisions together, this is not a me making the decisions. It's not an LJM making decisions. This is everyone that shows up to this meeting. You are expected to get involved. Membership does not require public speaking, to be clear. You don't have to go out and wave a flag. The flag is in your yard already.
Yeah. That's correct.
But we do want you to talk to the neighbors and tell people, hey, if someone asks you about your sign with the QR code in front, promote it. Tell them to scan it. Tell them to sign up. Tell them to get involved. When you show up to these meetings, we will also be presenting different memorandum ideas that we would like to present to our council people to change certain policies that we would like to see changed. And if you want to be involved in that, show up to these meetings because we talk a lot of shit. Was my personal way of not only keeping myself accountable, but my neighbors accountable and making sure that I can't say that I want to see something and not strive for it. And so I'm striving for it.
You know, I think that's one of the most important pieces that's missing right now And we talk a lot about that. It's that, generation of, oh, this is not my fight. We shouldn't get involved in certain things that's going on in the community. But there are things that you can do in the community that can get you prepared. And this is one of them. If part of that is having the ability to have an open discussion and know your neighbors, that's going to be a huge part when the reckoning comes. Because you want to know who lives next door to you.
Right.
You want to know if they are able to protect you or you need to protect them. So I think all of that, what you're doing is definitely meaningful, and it's a start. So finally, we done heard somebody who's doing something in the community. We need more of that. I think we need more of that. We need it coming more from our churches. We need it more coming from our civic organizations, and we need it more from just individuals. You don't have to be an elected official. You don't have to be the businessman. You can be just a regular person who want to do something. And if you got something that you can bring to the community, I think you should do it. So what's going on with you, Jeff?
You don't know that I have my J. I graduated that a couple months ago. But no, I think, I want to go back to what Unicorn was saying. And I think in that mission and what she said, that it's guided by the residents, is that's important for people to understand that this is something that's guided by the residents. And so there's no one person standing out as, I'm the leader, I'm leading this. But this is guided by all of us. And it's also important because it opens the door, as you said, Ken, for conversation. For people to talk to each other. Because we minimize what conversation will do, and a lot of folks don't know their neighbors.
That's correct.
I grew up when we knew our neighbors, because I remember being going to Harvey Rice, and living on Forest, and we would have, my brother and I were latchkey kids, but we would have to come in the house, and then we would have to go, lock the door, go on the patio or the porch, and wave to our neighbor to let our neighbor that we were in the house know our neighbor we were in the house safely.
That's correct.
And then we went back in and had to call mom at work and say, yes, we home, we waved, we locked the door. But that was because there was a relationship between my mom and the neighbor who looked out for us when we came home from school. And so there are certain things like that we just have lost as a community, and we got to rebuild. We got to get it back.
Well, I want to stay on that point for a minute. Suburban life does that to you a lot too.
Oh yeah.
Because I grew up in like Glenville and in the inner city, where we sat on the front porch. You played in the front yard. You played in the street. You played in the community. When we moved to Cleveland Heights, we noticed that nobody really sits in the front. You can ride down the street on a beautiful day. Either everybody sucking up central air, because you ain't have central air down the way in many houses, so you was forced to be outside. When you go there, either they're sucking up central air, or everybody has such big backyards and things, and they make their backyard so nice that everybody is in the backyard.
In the backyard.
So when you do see your neighbor, you probably see your neighbor every once in a while. You see your neighbor in transit. You see him walking out, headed to work. You see your neighbor maybe cutting their grass, if they don't have a landscaper who's doing that now. And so if that's happening, you don't even see them doing that anymore. So I think a lot of that, the suburban living lifestyle has changed that also, because quite frankly, I don't know many of my neighbors. I've been there over 20 years. And I know the lady next door to me moved several times. There's a school on the other side. If my neighbor's watching, they'll be like, you ain't right for saying this, but I got a neighbor across the street from me, this guy, black dude.
Calling out to neighbor across the street.
He's a good dude, no problem. Me and him for 20 years, wave at each other and talk. And one day I think I needed some pliers or something, really bad or something. And I just knew he was a black guy across the street, seemed to be cool, that I can ask him. I went and knocked on his door. He let me use some pliers one day, and I brought them back to him. Other than that, for 20 years, we hadn't said nothing to each other.
Well,
And hold on.
Do y'all know each other's names?
No, not really.
That's right.
And one day, I was out in my yard doing something. He was in his yard, and we talked for almost 20, 30 minutes. And it felt so doggone awkward, And when I finished, I said, man, I ain't talked to this dude in 20 years. Boy, why we talk so much today?
Because y'all had 20 years to catch up. Y'all got to catch up.
Why we talking so much? I was like, boy, he had a whole lot to say today, didn't he? And I kind of went on, was like, damn, he talked a lot today.
Did you ever ask him his name?
Did you get his name?
Still don't know his name. Still don't know his name.
Man,
but him, his wife, I know it's him, his wife, and he has a daughter. And they live directly across it. Matter of fact, he had re-sided his house and painted it look real nice. And we was talking about how nice his house was looking. And that took about 20 minutes. And it was like,
I remember leaving like, damn, that's the longest I ever talked to this dude since I ever been here.
Outside of borrowing pliers.
Outside of one day, and that was
Well, this is my
Do you got
challenge
some
to you.
pliers? Can I borrow them? He was like, here.
That goes back to that love and compassion that we tapped on Tuesday as well. Because he didn't know you. Although y'all said hello,
Right.
he didn't have to let you see anything.
Right.
He
Matter of fact,
did
I
because
just
y'all
moved
did
over
have
there.
some type of baseline
exactly.
of saying hello.
Exactly. Well, and I just
sorry,
moved
go
there.
ahead,
I wasn't even there long.
I'm about to challenge Ken. I need you to get a sign from Uni, and I need you to find out his name.
You know, I'll find out his name. I'm not
Right.
saying
Hello,
that.
neighbor.
But you know me, I'll be just look his address and be like, it's that's what they got us in now. Opposed to going over there, man, what is your name?
Right, you gonna just do a reverse search and find
reverse search, man.
find his name.
This dude
But
over
then if
here?
you call him by his name, he'll be like, I don't remember ever saying my name to
He's
him.
done looked me up.
Right. They're gonna be like stalker.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that is that you're talking, what you're talking about is the village. Remember, we used to have that
Precisely.
slogan, it takes a village.
Yep.
And the village has morphed a little bit. Now, Ken, you just talked about how everybody in your suburban communities in your backyard. But your backyard is just not your family. It's also people, while you won't see them on the porch and you don't know your neighbor's name, the kids know the neighbors. Because they sort of extended the village. But when it comes to that role model now, what Uni is talking about is people taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And being confident because now you're getting to know each other. You know, there was a time back in the day, you know, if I acted up, my neighbors didn't have a problem with disciplining me. And I
Right.
better not complain about it.
PTA.
You better not complain about it because my neighbor had the authority to keep you in line when you were getting out of line. And that's one of the things we really lost. But by the same token, some of the people in our neighborhood, we wouldn't want them disciplined.
Well, that's what about sitting there thinking like, I don't know how well that, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
But I
some
think
people-
it goes to what Uni said earlier, or somebody said, it's a trust.
Yeah.
You have to trust and have relationship in order for that to happen. You're not gonna just let and back in the day, well, you didn't just let anybody hit your kid.
No.
It had to,
You
it
knew
was a
him.
relationship that you had with somebody.
You knew them.
Yeah. And that was a village. The village was from relationships. You built
right.
relationships with people in order to create that community.
And you talk to each other. You know, and it may have been by necessity, but I remember when I lived on 79th and Platte Court, I knew everybody that lived in the
Hell,
other.
Plaque had. That's
Yeah,
over
we
there
had
off
all these little clapboard houses. We all knew each other.
It definitely was necessity.
And
Yeah.
we may meet at
You
the
had to
center.
do rent parties. You had to
right,
stay
right.
together to eat sometimes.
It was necessity.
We
had commonality.
We
We had the commonality of all of us was using welfare cheese, powdered milk and powdered eggs.
And government cheese.
We were all there together. See, so you know.
Yeah, we all in it together
survival.
now, ain't
It was
we?
about survival.
And but that's the thing
we
is that I
still
think
in
that's what
Are we?
happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens to us as a community, though, is that as you said, when you move to the suburbs, is folks move to the suburbs and forget the community and forget that they're a part of the community, and that's where we've got to we got to recapture. We got to bring that back because you can be in the suburbs and still care about the community, but what's happening with us is that we move and we get very individualistic, and we go to a mindset of being individual, and it's not about community anymore.
That's true. That's true.
So, Judge, what's on your mind today?
Well, you know.
Well, I got skipped.
Well, let me.
Oh, well, you know what you said.
Let's
Let's go back to you,
Go back
Doctor.
to
Go,
you,
that's what he said. We
You
going
said
back
what's
to
on my mind
What's
today?
on your mind?
You know, I'm gonna still say this from the radio show though, is that I'm excited about all of these things that I'm creating, these models, like looking at intergenerational, and speaking of community, talking about intergenerational, what it means to bring people together from different generations and how we focus on that, because we've lost that. Because when you think about it historically, we used to always be it was generations of family at a dinner table. And now you've got where kids move out, they don't come back, and so parents are by themselves or grandparents are by themselves. And then what you lose is the oral narratives. And so you lose it's a congregation. Well, you might lose that too. But you lose a conversation and the ability to share as to what is happening. Or even further than that, what's happening in your family. And so just some of that work that I'm working on. But as always, visit drheathereburton.com.
That's not a plug, is it?
That's a shameless plug right there. And you can get everything that you need as we talk about Dr. HEB. And make sure you follow me on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Yes, I'm doing a plug in the middle of the show because this is what I do. But
So on that, so let's stay on that then. Once you, because you enlightened us on the show about where you at with your books. You said you had some good news, all of that. So,
yeah.
So what's going
Well,
on
you know,
with
it's
your books
interesting
and all that?
between yesterday and today. I had a reality check, and I was like, my proof for my book, Student Success in Historically Black Spaces, which actually delves into separatism and understanding the benefits of separatism by looking at the Black Church, Divine Nine, and HBCUs. And again, as we talk about stuff being created out of necessity, is those entities were created out of necessity, not by design. And so in that, this book talks about how those entities have contributed to student success by building things or enhancing things like Black pride, Black dignity, racial identification. And so I introduced what I call authentic associations of affirmation, and label that as that, built on the work of David Walker. And if anybody's familiar with David Walker, father of Black nationalism. And so as of yesterday, I thought I would get the proof back by its due date. But by the looks of it now and today, and I still haven't read a proof in 24 hours.
Wow.
I just emailed and was like, I'm gonna have to push it back to the end of next week. So I still don't think that that's gonna be a big delay, but originally the book, my goal was that it was gonna be out on Juneteenth, but it's looking like it's gonna be released in April. So I'll push it back.
How's your podcast?
My podcast is going good. Like that first episode, people actually like it.
Okay.
Like people been viewing it.
And the name of it is, tell them your name of your podcast.
Oh, yes. The name is Sanctified and Stilettos.
And where can they find it?
And they can find it on all of your podcast outlets. So you can get it on iHeart, Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch your favorite podcast. Visit Sanctified and Stilettos under the Strategic Moves Network. Strategic Moves Media Network.
Bingo. There she goes.
I had to add it because, you know, Ken has been doing big things.
It is.
And folks need to recognize that
you.
this is an opportunity, specifically when we talk about just stuff of how we advance the Black community. And so it extends beyond the radio show, but to what you're doing and what you're doing by giving other people a platform.
That's correct.
Like myself, the judge, you know, Joe Little, is that we have these platforms now that we're able to discuss different things and issues. And I know most people have been waiting because that promo for Sanctified and Stilettos, the first one was about sex. And so everybody waiting on the sex episode, but we should be shooting that soon and it'll be out. But yeah, so things are good.
Well, things are very good with that, and we're doing it because our goal is to try to make this a social media network. We know that right now there's just not a good medium for us to be able to get information that is good, information that is true, people that are actually doing the work. So we hoping that what we're doing on the radio show, what we're doing here on the podcast and others will turn into something that people can count on and can look forward to understanding what's the real deal.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of fakes out here. Go ahead, Judge. How
Fake
you
news.
feel about that?
You know, when we lost Jet Magazine, which was our weekly periodical, everybody looked for that Jet Magazine. And with the demise of the Black press, you had Rhonda Crowder on your program the other day talking about how important it is, Black-owned media, how important it is, because we have to have a way of getting our message out intelligently. I mean, there's some radio programs in Cleveland. I just wonder, I said, how did they pick the people they would put on them? And the reason I say that is because it wasn't our best and brightest. And I don't mean just the brightest in terms of all the intelligence, but I mean best and brightest in terms of being connected with the broader issues. And so I'm glad to see what you're doing now, because it gives us a chance to really talk about things that have substance from an African-American perspective, a historical African-American perspective. You know, we got the Unicorn and Dr. Burton. I mean, they have some depth about themselves. They're not just shallow. They have depth, and they can operate in multiple environments.
We swim in the deep end.
And that's what I'm talking about. So this program that you put together, and Ken, you know, we're proud of you. You stepped out here and put something together that's been missing in our community. We don't have to worry about being edited. by the owner.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say that.
Right.
You know, we can do our thing. You know, so when it comes to my big issue now, I'm trying to, you know, they keep talking about DEI. And I think about the things that wouldn't exist if it weren't for black people. You know, John Glenn would have never got to outer space without was it for black people.
For Katherine Johnson.
People couldn't be able to get from one part of the community to the next part of the community wasn't for GPS, black women. And I just think about the great things that we have done in spite of the barriers that were placed in front of us. I mean, our people came from the west coast of Africa without any resources, stuck in the bottom of ships, sold into slavery where they had no control over anything. And now people just years out of Jim Crow, out of slavery, then Reconstruction and Jim Crow, came up with ideas without resources to create them. You know, Katherine Johnson and what they did, they were just years out of, you know, since segregation, and they figured out how to get rockets up in the air and down again.
But I think that's the problem, is that we put history in the concept of just being in America.
Yeah.
And the reality is that our history began way before the Americas.
That's right.
And so if you look at even the 1400s, when we talk about some of the great empires of Africa, is that this work was being done there. So a lot of this, like the mathematicians, the astronomy, is that what it is? Astronomy, right? All of that was being done beforehand. And these formulas, because I looked up some of the stuff that Katherine Johnson and the other women had to do when we're talking about sending John Glenn into space, and just the formulas that they had to use in order to do that. And here's the thing, what most people take advantage of is those formulas were being handwritten. And you had to calculate that by hand and mind, compared to now, everything you putting into a computer and it's pushing it out for you.
Exactly.
But I think we have to recognize, as you said, Judge, that there's a lot that we do as a community that, and when I'm speaking of the community as a whole, as black folks, that we just don't get recognition for, we haven't gotten recognition for, and things that are has pushed the needle ahead and continues. One thing that you said, though, I want to go back to is this black media and the fact of us not being censored, because that's a thing that's happening now, and a real thing. And I know I can say for myself, coming out of that DEI space, that diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and how I had to be cognizant of what I was saying, and especially holding a position of what I could and could not say, to be in this type of space, and I can speak freely about any and everything, and from an Afrocentric lens. And nobody is saying, what about me? Wait a minute, you forgot about this community. What about this community over here? Uh-oh, you forgot about these people. You don't have to do that in this space, because this is in the words of FUBU, for us, by us.
You know,
now, if FUBU, you still operate, you can give us a sponsorship too.
We'll take it. And you know, I want to hang on to that, what you said, because watching you operate, it was easy. It would have been easier for you to just say, hey, I lost my job with DEI. I got to watch what I'm saying because I'm about to go find another job. I'm not going to be on the radio. I'm not going to be, because we putting your stuff out there. You be saying some stuff.
I said, right. It's so funny, Uni, because I thought about this one day. Like, I was interviewing for a couple positions, and I thought about it, and I said, oh, this is probably why I can't get no job, because if they go into any of my social media now, I would rather stand in truth than to be censored just for a job opportunity. If you can't accept me for who I am and my values that I stand behind, then I don't need to work for you.
Yeah, that's your resistance.
And my blood pressure is down since I've been gone too. I'm sure. Because my blood pressure always runs low. And when I went to the doctor yesterday and it was like 110/60 something, I was like, see, I'm back.
That's right.
She's back.
That's correct.
So you don't have to suppress your resistance. So we have natural resistance.
Yeah.
You know, our folks came out of slavery because we had resistance. And sometimes the resistance shows in some of us more often. Some of us are in 100% resistance mode, and others, like Tim Scott,
I knew you was going to go there.
Tim Scott's resistance took a whole lot of whipping. He took a whole lot of sucking up before he finally disconnected his lips from his leaders behind. And once he disconnected, and he didn't completely disconnect, but he backed up just enough so he could actually see
what he was
how he was
missing.
being described.
Well, let's stay on that point. We're going to get into that right now. So now we can go
I
and
knew
get
the
into
judge was
our,
gonna go to
our
Tim Scott
topics
today.
of the day. We done went around those corners. So the topic that we want to talk about today, and we're going to get into a few, but we're going to start off with this. Black History Month is this month, and I kept telling everybody, is Donald Trump going to allow us to have Black History Month, which was the first thing, because he canceling everything. So I figured he going to cancel Black History Month as a joke just to see what people would respond. But he went and took it a step further. What he ended up doing was going ahead putting out these clips about President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, depicting them as apes and showing them something he probably had a long time ago and was just didn't have the balls to really do it. And this time he said, you know what? I'm finally going to put this up as president to let the whole world really see on how I feel about it. People like Tim Scott and others were people who held and looked at that, and Tim Scott, to your point, finally decided enough is enough. You just really went really racist on this one. And I don't know what the heck it was that made him feel like this was more racist. If it was the type of monkey they put him in, maybe it was that. I don't know.
On the racist scale.
Right, on the racist scale. Now that we have a hierarchy of racism.
What that was. So I want to go, we're going to start with Unicorn, and we're going to work our way around from a position of you with the millennials and all of the young folks out there and the people that look out that, and from the community of the activists and folks out there in the community. How did you interpret or take a look at that? And how did you feel about that? And what's the word on the street as it relates to that?
It's just not funny. It's just nothing about it that is comical. It's nothing about it that's tasteful. It's just very... It's just disgusting. It's disgusting behavior. And honestly, I'm surprised it took this long for them to show that hierarchy of racism that they possess in that way, shape, or form. They've trolled the Obamas for so many years at this point. It's just tired. It's tired. It's tired. Please give it up. Move on. Move on. Please. It's tired. That's how I feel. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm doing like you.
Right. I'm telling you, the JD's coming. I can't get a job, but I can't go back to school.
Everybody want to make you a judge.
No.
Hey, listen, we need some too, so don't be surprised we be saying that for real.
Only way I can be a judge is if I can run without getting a law degree, because I am not going back to school. But I think, so first of all, I don't want to skip over Black History Month and skip over the fact that it is Black History Month and that we are celebrating 100 years of Black History Week when Carter G. Woodson introduced Black History Week in 1926 between two of his favorite people's birthdays, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. So I don't want to skip over. Well, those were Carter G. Woodson's folks. It wasn't my folks, but it was Carter's folks. And remember now, we got to remember when Carter was around. So it wasn't like Carter had a whole lot of role models. Yeah. So, needless to say, Black History Week, and Carter G. Woodson is a member of Omega Psi Phi. So to all the Omegas out there, I know Judge, because I saw Judge's face with Kappa Alpha Psi and what he looked like to me to the side. He gave me a side eye real quick.
Not barking when he was over there drinking.
That's right. I was gonna let you slide.
He gave me the side eye on that. But I will say, as Uni said, it's one of those things with this particular picture is it's not surprising that Trump would put this out. I happened to be teaching class on Friday when one of the students said, did you just see the post or the post that came out this morning of Trump putting and displaying the Obamas as apes? Well, at that time, I hadn't seen the post. And then when I saw the post, I was like, this is typical Trump behavior. But the issue for me is the excusing of the behavior. Is how we continue, how folks, let me say not we, how folks continue to excuse this racist behavior like, oh, it's okay. It's just a joke. Why are you taking it so serious? It's not bad. Like we deal with every day when people microaggressions and those whole biases and stuff like that. That's the problem that I have. Is stop excusing, what did you call it yesterday?
it's the height.
The stupid ignorance, the stupid.
The maximum
Special type of stupid.
Special
type of stupid.
Like stop excusing the special type of stupid. And this is where that has to stop, is that when we keep excusing this type of behavior, then it doesn't shift. And he does not have to be held accountable because everyone's making an excuse for you doing this type of ignorance.
Judge, does it matter when we look at this as it takes legally or institutionally, whether the president posted or a staffer did, or where does the accountability on your end you feel with this goes?
With Donald Trump's daddy.
Oh, Jesus, you went all the way to his
What did you say?
I
missed it. What did you say?
Donald Trump. See,
Daddy.
Donald Trump, he's not just
Daddy?
on his own. This is Donald Trump's. This is how he was raised.
Said the daddy.
This is how he was raised.
That's
His
real.
daddy discriminated against black people in public housing. Donald Trump is the product of a racist family. He's just the latest in the family. His depiction of us in his mind is really a reaction to the fact that he is held in such low esteem. He's the president of the United States with billions of dollars, and he still feels inadequate.
Yeah.
His brain has not kept up with his accomplishments because his accomplishments were not earned. They were given to him, and he got them because of his privilege. So Donald Trump is still trying to justify his existence. And
How do you keep a job and I can't, and you say all of this?
I'm self-employed.
Well, I am now too.
So you're going to be all right. That's the key to it.
So when I see Donald Trump say things like this, I'm not surprised. I just know that he's acting out what his mind is. See, his mindlessness. He doesn't have much up there, you know. And when he sees a Barack Obama, he goes crazy. What does Barack have? Intelligence. He's suave. He has a beautiful, intelligent wife who is educated and didn't have to. She didn't have to pose in her drawers in order to get over.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
He handles the public well.
Listen, that was nice lingerie.
He's just very well.
That was not draws.
It was her drawers. It's her drawers.
Those were nice lingerie.
Look at Barack, and then look at Donald. Put them side by side.
You can't.
Look just side by side, and then let them talk. And you cringe when you hear Donald Trump. You cringe.
But that goes to this normalized whiteness, though, is that we put them side by side, and you still have people who look at him as being the most intelligent, the smartest, the person who, and I mean, I think about just all of his debates.
Yeah.
There is no way.
Yeah, you gotta look at that.
But there were folks who said, "Oh, he was great," and I'm like, I don't know what word came out that made them even say that this man was great.
Donald Trump has 75 million people vote for him. Now that would normally make you happy until you realize that he recognized that most of that 75 million read at a third grade level.
He said he don't want their support.
So you got, and remember, he said that
he said he don't want
He said I don't want their support.
the 75 million.
No, he said
Because they read at a third grade level.
No, because they don't like all the stuff he's doing these days.
But his original crew, they gravitated toward him because he is as ignorant as they are.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
He was speaking at level, third grade level.
When you talking about third grade level, well, he was doing, what is it? I remember, I think with journalism, you're supposed to write at a fifth grade, not higher than a fifth grade level. And so he didn't make it past.
He took two steps down.
It, yep. And
Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that controversy shifts the focus away from policy, or does it energize the political base on both sides? On both sides, does it makes the people who were really out there feeling like, hey, you know what, this thing right here is really bad and it's going to really make us want to get out there and fight Democrats, or is it the Republicans finally, he done gone ahead and lit the torches. The gates are open and now we can get out here and really be the racists we want to be. Do you think that type of thing really did anything to energize either one of the bases? Yes or no, or you don't think so, or whatever?
I think there are people of consciousness that are in his party who are starting to say, look, I ain't got to be scared of this son of a bitch.
That's correct.
And that's the necessity. That's what we need right there.
Yeah. Because see, remember who died? Who did they kill in Minnesota. I mean, in Wisconsin. Who they killed?
White woman.
Killed a white woman and a white
man.
a nurse, on national TV. They executed 2 people. So that makes other white folks say, wait a minute, I had this right to speak. I don't know if that right is as strong as it is, because I just saw a girl get shot in the face and the guy gets shot 8 times in the back.
That's correct.
And I heard, so there was this, I'm not going to say the podcast on here because I don't want viewers going there. We need our viewers to stay with us. But no, I was, one of my favorite podcasts is there was a Reformed white Christian evangelist or anti-Christian evangelist on there, evangelical, that was on there. And he was talking about how the fact of even with Renee Good, and when Renee Good was killed, they flipped the narrative. And so you flip the narrative with a white woman and start focus on her being a lesbian. And so you flip it and you don't have to get we're not going to get as sensitive towards Renee Good, or we're not going to get that involved. But when they shot, his name just slipped my mind.
What's his name? The nurse.
When they shot the nurse, when they shot the white man, that woke people up to a white man being shot. And that is one of those things. And he was saying that the only way white men are going to shift is by white male evangelicals standing up and coming out and saying that everything that you put forth, everything that you taught is wrong. And I think that's another thing when we talk about the church and we talk about how Christianity has been used to subjugate folks, to enslave folks. And we've got to change that narrative.
So 2 things happen with churches, and I don't want to spend much time on that. In the early churches, only certain people could interpret and read Bibles.
Right.
And then in slavery, we weren't permitted to read at all. So the verses that would free us, we didn't know about. And all of a sudden we started learn how to read, and said, the truth shall set you free.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute now.
We got a hold of Exodus and said, oh, look at them getting out of Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm about to get out of here.
So once you can read, and you're a publisher. Once you can read, and you told people the other day, read a book.
Yeah.
Read a book.
Once you start reading, it opens your mind up to it opens your mind up to truth.
Yeah.
And I go back to, like you said, with Donald Trump, is you can tell he does not read a book.
Oh, no, he hasn't read any books.
No.
He don't even read his briefings. No, he ain't reading a book.
Right. And all you have to do is listen to the language. But that's what privilege will do.
Right.
When you can walk in privilege, you don't have to do anything. And he walks in white male privilege. And so this is why he thinks that he can justify putting pictures up of the Obamas.
And the man is the most insecure person in the world. Let me tell you why. What did one heartbeat away from his job is J.D. Vance. And what did J.D. Vance compare Donald Trump to during this campaign? Hitler. What did his Secretary of State, Rubio, call him? Rubio called him a pathological liar. So when you go,
I think he
Rubio
likes
compared him
those.
to a third world
I think
dictator.
that was
He does.
I think that was all compliments.
But these are people.
But that's how you know the mental illness is real.
And
that
these
was
are people
compliments.
he has to be concerned. But see, Rubio called him a third world dictator. It was Cruz who called him a pathological liar, and his type man, Lindsey Graham, called him a racist. Let me quote it for you: a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. Now, Trump got to be worried. You know, when they took the Caesars out, his boys was taking.
But you know what? He just described all of them, because that's all of them. They all said all of that stuff, but every last one of them are big supporters of him.
Well,
so
see,
who is really at fault? Is
well,
we blaming Trump, or we blaming the fools that's following him? Because
he's
he's been always who he said he is. He ain't changed nothing.
Both.
But everybody seemed to be like at one point was totally against him, thought he wasn't a good guy, knew he wasn't good for the country, but yet and still they went out there and they supported
But you got to remember too, who's the country? And when they voting, what lens are they voting from?
Right,
and so if you're trying to maintain whiteness and you're trying to maintain white male
No doubt.
patriarchy,
No doubt.
then that's the way that you're going to vote.
No doubt.
And that's the bottom line is
No doubt.
It's about maintaining the power of whiteness. Right. And that's how these folks voted. And that's why they voted against their own self-interest.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why Mexicans and Hispanics, other Hispanics, voted against their best interests?
Well, they didn't know their best interest because one of the things that happens is, like many of them, they come and they assimilate to whiteness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they're so close to, in their mind, I'm so close to whiteness that I think I'm going to get the same privileges that you're going to get.
Precisely,
But in reality, no.
No.
This man, if you ain't
Not at all.
European
you the first
white,
to go, baby.
you the first to go. And I'll give you because I had many students, and that's the one thing about a number of Hispanics, and they can pass for white. Mm-hmm. And so if you can pass for white, then you can walk in privilege, because it's not like you got to be like,
That's correct.
I'm
I'm
Hispanic.
Latino.
Yeah, you don't have to be
I'm
like,
white.
I'm Latino. I'm Latino. You don't have to do that. And so, it's the whole idea of they thought that it was gonna be okay because I'm closer.
I will vote.
And they had a surface security.
Donald
They had a
Trump.
surface security that because people were making decisions based on what they could see briefly. But then
And they had some racialness in that too.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna let them off
There's
the hook.
there's a
There
hierarchy
was
in
some
there.
hierarchy
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
a
There was some racial stuff in there.
Because I'll give you an example. I worked with somebody who was Latino, conveniently.
that switched around. Huh?
They were
Pass.
conveniently Latino. They were conveniently Latino when they are amongst the underrepresented folks. And they would always tell, and this is how you know it was a convenient thing, because their introduction always gave their social identities that were marginalized.
Right.
And so I'm Latino, I'm this, I'm that. But as soon as it came to conversation and truth and things happening, it was not that. And I'll tell you what was the key for me is that when we in a meeting and we trying to fight for black and brown students to get something done, and you side with the white people,
Oh yeah.
then
So
that's why I said conveniently.
The best example
And I saw it very often firsthand
best
of
example-
that behavior.
The best example is in Miami, where you have the Cubans that hated Fidel versus the Cubans who love Fidel. Okay, and then as you come west, you talk about Mexicans who have no commonality with some of those Cubans.
Yeah.
And then you have people coming out of Central America who have no commonality with the Cubans.
And all just
So,
boat rides.
you know, and then you have the Puerto Rican community,
Right.
Yeah.
the Puerto Rican community, which is who are trying to fight as hard as they can be to not become Hawaii. So you have these hierarchies and these silos. So as people come together, as people start joining up, it starts to make white folks nervous.
let me ask a question on this whole thing, and we ain't gonna pound Trump too much longer, but as it relates to what he did, and Judge, I guess the question is something I know you were part of, watching what happened in the 60s and a lot of things that took place and how people handled certain situations. Now, today, the way we are in our community is things doesn't seem to maybe sting as much as it used to sting. People don't fight in the same way that they used to fight, and people don't do the things that in the same way that they used to. So in saying that, I believe that there probably was a time that if the president would have been able to put such a picture out there, that it would have been more of an outrage from our community. And when I say that is, yes, I saw a few pastors and folks got online and said that. I saw Roland Martin and other folks, you got your media folks, oh, that was terrible, blah, blah, blah. But there really no real serious community outrage about that of being black. The same as it would have been when people say now we went from now it's the N-word. And it's the N-word with the hard E-R and that kind of stuff. Like either way doesn't really matter. And then, as we as black folks utilize the word to say, okay, we done disarmed it because we say it so much to each other and everybody, so it don't sting as much no more. So the question I'm asking, and this is everybody, does it sting the same way that it did when Trump put this picture out with President Obama and Michelle? Or are we at a point in society where we accept crazy shit that comes on the internet, and that's just some more old crazy shit on the internet? We look at it and we move on. Uni, you've been quiet.
I think it boils down to, like the good Dot said earlier, individualism. We're not touched and affected by the same things, the same ways anymore.
Yeah, right.
We're so busy. We're so caught up in everything that we have going on in our families and our kids and our jobs. And they purposely, again, keep us on these rat wheels as well.
That's correct.
Worried about the same things and stuck in this individualistic mindset where I'm not worried about anything that's outside of my bubble. If it's outside of my bubble, I don't care about it. So it's not surprising that a lot of people was not reactionary to that whole thing in general. It's not surprising that they're also very tired of Trump and his antics, and it's just simply not surprising that he did it.
That part.
It's very sad. It's very sad,
Right.
and I just hate to see it because I would love to see the fire back in our communities for
That's
for
right.
what it is that we need to see happen. All the shit that y'all talk that y'all want to see happen, and that's not happening. We need that fire back to make these things happen. Politicians work for us, but we are not keeping any of them accountable. They're all up in the Epstein files. Are we going there today?
Yeah, wherever
I'm
you
just
want to
asking.
go.
I don't know. Because if they're not voted out, I don't understand what we are doing as a nation of people. What have we really allowed the standard and the bar to fall so low?
There you go.
Yeah. And I think that goes, building on what Uni is saying, is allowing the standard and the bar to fall so low and being desensitized. Is that being desensitized? Judge is about to fall out of that seat over there.
I'm listening.
But no, being desensitized.
Right.
And that's on both sides of the fence. Because I would be curious how many black people were not affected by that particular picture, because it is Trump behavior. It's typical Trump behavior. And so you like, here we go again.
Yeah.
And it's to the point you want to be like, is that all you got? But but we still should be outraged. And like you said, if this had been a president previously, if this had been anybody but him, it would have been more of an uproar. And the question becomes, how does he have so much power, so many people afraid of him that nobody will stand?
Nobody.
Doctor, what was your position at Case?
I was the Associate Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusive Engagement.
You were an accomplished black woman.
I was a very accomplished black woman
You
with probably
are.
I am with probably more degrees than half the university,
Before
or probably 90% of the university.
we had Charlie Sifford, but before Tiger Woods, we didn't have many blacks playing golf. And when Tiger Woods came on, he became the what? The golf story.
The golf,
He
yeah.
became the story. The story. Now that means he had to replace Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. He replaced all the white folks that played golf. You are an accomplished person. You replaced your genius displaced a whole lots of white folks. When you look at television today, you have, the reality was we used to have a black president only as in the movies. And then Barack came and ended the dominance of that. When you watch the athletic programs today, you had the days when there was Paul Hornung and Bronco Nagurski. And then Jim Brown showed up, kicked the door open. Now we have Jim Browns all over the National Football League. Eddie Robinson showed up. All of a sudden, Grambling became the factory. Ted Ginn in Cleveland showed up and taken some black kids, underprivileged, and made them champions, not only in sports, but in life. People resent that.
Yeah.
When Emmett Till was killed and the civil rights movement started taking off, black people elevated the consciousness of the whole country, black and white. And that's the power we have, even when we don't have resources. Just our energy elevated the whole
That's what I'm saying.
moral
Correct.
standing of the entire country.
And that's what they're afraid of.
And
correct.
that is the thing that they are afraid of. So when you ask the question, Kenny, about the whole monkey thing, that's where it emanates from. That's why the support for Trump doing that. There was outrage from conscientious people whose consciousness was developed by the civil rights fight and what King and those guys did in terms of empowering people and raising people up, so they became humans. And these people right now are fighting that. That's why they hate immigrants, because they're fighting the colorization of this country. So they want to niggerize the country again, and it ain't happening. And we ain't gonna allow it to happen.
Yeah.
When we show up, this program like right now, people are listening to us articulate, and it's gonna piss somebody off because
it probably has already pissed a few off.
Because we don't have any shame, and we're speaking. We have a disc jockey who's great, a doctor who's dynamic, a host who ain't afraid, and you got me. So when you look at all this together,
and we need a descriptor for the judge.
I was about to say the real sneaky ever.
You can't step us back, man.
Right.
You can't step. When we get a shot, we accept. You just had a young lady, a black female from Cleveland Heights, score a goal in a hockey game.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Olympics.
First
In the
one.
Olympics.
We get a big shout out to Cleveland Heights on that one. Layla, I forgot her last name, but yes, she was part of that, and she's a Heights graduate.
When we take a shot. We go deep.
Right.
So let's take a shot at the First Lady then. Let's talk about her new movie that came out. It's called Melania, if you guys haven't heard of it, and you can catch it.
I don't want to give them any
movie
more
theater
time
right now. And they actually pay you $50 if you feel like you want to go there and check it out. Just go on
$50
on Craigslist.
$50 on Craigslist. If you can
Apparently.
find Craigslist, actually, I thought that was a big scam, but
So they're trying to
Craigslist is
bring
back
that
out here and they're offering $50.
Well,
if you wanna
Craigslist
go.
had probably had to do something too to get back on the map, so they figured out this
So
is the
they
way to
said,
do
let's
it.
go on Craigslist and we'll pay people to go actually see Melania, the new movie. Now, there's something bigger in that, and we can laugh and joke about that, but the part that I wanted to come out of, and we talked about that earlier, was the amount of money that took place in that. Donald Trump, as president, has now raised, in his net worth is over $3 billion as a president.
As a president.
And he's
As a
still
president.
unhappy.
He's selling watches.
Right.
He's doing everything.
Right, like you said, Judge, and he's still unhappy.
Unhappy. And check this out now. Can you think about, now he's not one of the most popular presidents. Can you imagine how much money Michelle and Barack would have made if they were able to promote
And
any
do the
of that
stuff that he's
they wanna
doing.
do as president? I mean, not even them, their kids.
Yeah.
Hell, Malia and Shouts, they could have said, you know what? We don't need the money. Let the kids make some money.
And there's a clause.
but they didn't do none of that.
Like Trump has done with his children.
Clause says you
Yeah,
can't
like he
do
did
this.
with his children. Exactly.
That clause that says, the emoluments clause says you can't do this.
Right.
He don't give a hoot about this.
$28 million went in her pocket. Jeff Bezos went ahead and he's probably spent well over $100 million or so to put this movie together. And here's the big part about it. Not only did the movie was pretty bad and it sucked, but the problem of it was the amount of money that actually went back into the Trump's family in order to do it. And Jeff Bezos, right after that, laid off all those people over at Amazon as a result.
With no warning.
With no warning. Just laid all those people off. So again, when we looking at what this guy is doing as president and all of the stuff that he's making, Judge, what do? We
Maybe we should make our own movie about him, Melania. We can do it. We don't need no.
We don't even need no. We don't need no 48 million, no 40 million, no 35 million to market
Well, we
it.
can make up something.
We can just take her pictures, her
May
best
I
pictures.
ask,
and put
is there
them-
some type of tax write-off for those type of instances for directors and creatives and people in that media type of media field?
Bezos probably got a big write-off for making.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Making it,
Because
the
they
loss
are
he
the
gonna take
kings
on
of
it.
loopholes. So for me, when I hear about something like that, I think, okay, there must be some type of different angle where on the back end, they're either going to make more money or they're going to be able to save more money.
Why would he do it is the question.
To make more money
Make
or
more
to
money.
save
Yeah,
more
you
money,
said-
which is why
so-
I'm like, is there some type of tax?
The room. One of the rumors was he's getting additional government contracts.
Correct.
And so from this deal with Trump, he's getting government contracts. So yes, he's going to make back the money that he lost.
And then some.
And then
And then
some.
some. Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
From
I mean,
Trump,
and when you
from
got a
Trump,
president, I didn't know that number, Ken, but when you have a president that we talking about has made $3 billion
billion since he's
while
been
in
office.
presidency.
By being the president.
as a sitting president. Where have you even heard?
We are
And
a year
that's not
and
even
2
what it's-
months into this thing, y'all.
And that's not even that's not even including what his children have made.
That's correct.
And he still look like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, Jesus. This judge over here. He on his butt today.
Even with that statement that was made about Michelle and Barack not being able to sell like whatever they would want to sell during their pregnancy.
Pregnancy.
Not me, Lord. During their presidency term versus Trump and really every other president. It's just not only is it a testimony to how far behind we are as a nation of people, as Black people, when it comes to the information, financial information that we have. What you just saying, Doc, Trump making sure that his kids are included in every contract that he signs. We don't have that type of business mindset because we weren't raised that way.
We weren't raised.
We was
Correct.
raised by millionaires. They understood money.
Yep.
We don't even care to understand our own accounts half the time, let alone go out there and gain more financial education and literacy. How can we make those type of moves for our children and the next generations to come if we're not taking that time to educate ourselves financially? Because I'm just now understanding money. I'm just now understanding IRAs, CDs, how to save, all of these things. And yes, I was told save growing up.
That's correct.
But no one's really said how much I should be saving, what I should be putting aside, what I should be putting in CDs. I didn't even know about CDs back then. Yeah. So it's not surprising that we are still, again, on that rat wheel, trying to catch up in these different ways, shapes, and forms. I'm sorry, I went off somewhere.
No, because I was going to add to that though. That's real.
That's legitimate.
And yeah, right. It's legitimate. It's real because as people, when we think about Black folks, is because we were never we created their wealth. We created their wealth with free labor.
That's correct.
And they learned to invest their wealth because they had it. And then we, after slavery, and Judge just went through it earlier, after slavery, you go to Reconstruction, you go to survival. And survival, then you put laws in place like the Black codes where now you getting arrested for hunting and fishing. And so now it's like, how am I even gonna feed my family? And so people forget these things that were actual policies and laws to keep the Black community back after slavery. So we get caught in, oh yeah, slavery ended, you all were free, you can do, no, there were still so many policies and laws. And so you miss that piece of education in terms of money management. Which is, and I think I heard this more recently with the NFL, is that the NFL has started putting financial literacy programs, people within the NFL to help these players, because you get so many players who get this large amount of money and they don't know how to manage it. Yeah. And I used to tell my students that. Yeah, they should have, but I think some teams have, but not, like all the teams.
Policies, all
that
the
it
teams
was,
do.
because I remember the many students that I had that, everybody wants to be a pro athlete, and I want to be rich, and so I would say, well, what's your definition of rich? And they would say, I want like $1 million. Okay, so what type of house you want? Okay, well, your house is now $500,000. You haven't paid taxes yet either, so now you got to pay taxes, and then you talk about buying mama a house, you got $10,000 left. So that's the reality of that when you put it into play. But another shameless plug. If you watch Sanctified in Stilettos, we have a great episode. We have a great episode on wealth and talking about how to build wealth. We also talked about that on the radio. We talked about that on the radio. And so there are, and I think these places and platforms are places where we have to start helping each other and learning. Another great example is, and this is it, get a life insurance policy.
Yes. I didn't know you could borrow against it.
Get a life insurance. You can borrow against it, but it also creates wealth for your family when you're gone. Because if you've got a good life policy, just say $100,000, $200,000. I tell my family, you bet not spend that much money on me for no funeral. Even though I do want some doves in the middle of the street and I want y'all to carry me down Euclid, so I'm just letting y'all know.
You know how long Euclid is?
Well, not all of Euclid. We're not going to Pennsylvania, Euclid, but just about 3 blocks. That's it.
Yeah, that's
With
about
a horse
it.
trial, and I want some doves. That's it.
doves.
Lady, we can do
And
that.
then you can cremate me. You ain't even got to put me in like a real casket in the ground. We don't need no burial plot. But no, I'm saying all that though. I'm joking with that. I'm joking. I'm joking with some parts of it, but not all of it. But is having a life policy, because then that leaves something for your family when you go.
Instead of bills.
Instead of build.
Most people, and that's how most the white community has over the years was able to do it, because at some point in time we couldn't take out life insurance.
Yep.
It's a wealth builder.
Because
man.
of
It's a
wealth building, and when they did do it, they had life insurance companies.
Home ownership we couldn't
that-
have.
You couldn't have home ownership, and then you got ripped off. You had insurance companies that had these crazy old premiums that they were charging seniors and folks for policies. My grandmother, for years, when I grew up, used to have an insurance guy who used to actually come to the house every month to collect the insurance money. We'd be out there paying, the white dude pull up in the car, and she was paying on this policy, kept talking about this policy when she died. When she left, in the policy, it was really nothing. It really wasn't even really enough money to even bury her. But I know for a fact, as a kid growing up, that this dude came over
Every
there
month to get the money.
to get the money from her. Equitable Life, if you ever heard of them, they've been around for years, and they were just like killing the game. And they were in the community, going through there to black people, and they thinking, hey, I need insurance, thinking they got something, and they wasn't. So we as a community is been just taken advantage of in so many doggone ways. And to your point of trying to catch up, that we always are battling.
We
to catch
always
up.
catching up.
And so as a result of that, to your point in the beginning, Uni, when you talk about financial literacy and things, you run from the stuff you don't understand.
Yeah.
And when people saw that, it didn't take much for a person like myself to know, oh, my grandmother paid years and years into that, and it didn't give her nothing. Why I'm going to do that? You see what I mean? And it'll be enough to make you. Now, I was the opposite, because I was fortunate enough to get some financial literacy to understand it, but everybody don't get it like that, right? So if you done, and the only thing you know is that granny and auntie been paying these bills and it didn't amount to nothing for me, so why would you do it? You see what I mean?
You all have raised a whole bunch of issues that we need to talk about in the community. You're talking about your neighbor-to-neighbor program, financial literacy, investing, insurance, all that. The three of you have raised a number of issues that could be applied to our community. We can get people to sit down long enough in order to incorporate some of the things you talk about and listen. I know in Columbus right there, there's a relationship seminar going on. Huge relationship. I need to be at that. But a relationship seminar going on. And the whole city is turned. They have about 1,500 people down there at this relationship seminar. Our community is fractured. You know, we have children being raised in broken homes. You know, and people, we describe that, we use that description. I'm using it loosely. But we have children who don't have that person, whether it's male or female, that can actually provide what they need in order to help develop those young people. And there are various things that go into that. But and hopefully that neighbor-to-neighbor program is something that can step in there and help fill that gap, whether it's a lack of father or a lack of mother. You know, because some of these kids we're raising them to be failures, and we need intervention. So, you know, and I know that my sister over there with her 600 dues paying deltas, 600 dues paying. That was an old number. So they probably more. They have more.
I thought it was more than 600.
Well, it's thousands of them.
He's talking about one chapter.
I'm talking about the financial ones in Cleveland. I'm talking about in Cleveland only. They have 600.
It's 390,000.
See,
that's a lot of deltas.
That's a lot of. But and multiply that by all the other sororities and fraternities.
Yeah.
That's power.
Right. So why can't they? Well, that's going to be a whole nother show because I want us to finish up on this one.
I got so many questions.
Yeah, well, we can get into that one. That's going to be a whole
I don't
nother show.
have frat hate or sorority hate in my heart.
But it's
I used to. I've healed.
You healed.
But I have so many questions for you both.
Yeah. I probably had so many questions for myself.
Well, you know, both of them in frat, and me and you ain't uni, so we get to have a good show on that.
But just think about
I'm in Me 5B. I graduated at the top of my class of that fraternity.
That's like, wait.
But I think it's in connection with anything else. It's a matter of being able to come together, and also having the wherewithal of how to bring it together. And I think that is often what lacks is that how do you bring this power together? I think the most and I don't know, somebody might be correct, but the unification of Divine Nine was behind Kamala Harris, is where you really saw a unified body trying to push forward. And there have been other issues that Divine Nine has come together on and to fight against. It's prioritizing issues, and then, like Just said, bringing folks together for the power. And if we think about it, just all Black entities not just sororities and fraternities, but those. All of our organizations that are Black by necessity. Is how do we get all of us under one umbrella to fight against the issues and stand strong?
Well, the one thing that hampers, and I'm moving beyond frats and sororities now. All of our groups, the vast majority of them are nonprofit organizations. Now, when you get into the white community, you talk about Knights of Columbus and all those things. They don't care about that. They don't allow themselves to be limited by their nonprofit status. They still go out and be political. Turning Point, highly political. Yeah. More majority, there was a political organization. See, so we can maintain our nonprofit organizations, but we need to develop the second level, which is our political organizations.
That was going to be my next question to you, and it was, do you think that the Black community has built a big enough independent Black political structure that we can stand behind?
Beyond the Congressional Black Caucus. And then they have a foundation, so they operate. But when they do their politics, it's in their name of their caucus. And the country is the Republicans are so fearful of that caucus, they're trying to gerrymander them out of existence. Where you lose about 50% of your Black representation in Congress if white gerrymandering, Republican gerrymandering, is allowed to take place. But we can't be gerrymandered out of our political power if we organize. If we organize outside of our social organizations, and they do great as social organizations, but we need a political operation. We need a PAC. What you did the last election with Black men, that was a hell of a thing. That was a hell of a thing. And don't be disappointed in the turnout, because it was the first time that it was attempted at that level. So the next time you build upon what happened the first time, and the power is going to be multiplied. Because I
think, Judge, I think you said something, though, and I didn't even think about that, but for these organizations, even when we talk about fraternities and sororities, of having that status where they can't, when you talk about politically, they can't engage on that political level,
because our organizations don't get the same passes as white organizations.
We can be active and get people out to vote.
But you can't endorse candidates.
We need them to get out to vote for a thing, for a person. For that thing that we want,
and not just primaries. And we also have to get together and actually give marching orders to our politicians. Again, they work for us.
And I think that probably be a whole nother episode. But voting and what's happening when we have. I just got finished listening to 107 Days by Kamala Harris and her book. And one of the things that she was saying is where we make this statement that this is what America wanted, talking about Donald Trump. But when you look at the numbers, majority of America didn't vote.
For him.
And in general. In general, for anybody. And so the question becomes, why is more of the country disengaged from the electoral process
Correct.
than they are engaged.
But why, speaking as a young person that is coming up, when you see all this misrepresentation, all this misinformation, all of these things that you then have found out is totally false and wrong, why would you then want to engage with something that you saw did your people so wrong, so dirty, so insignificantly? They treated them so insignificant, and now you want me to go vote? Yeah. I don't care how many of my ancestors have died. This is not my mindset. I'm just saying some people have this mindset. I don't care how many ancestors got bit for this. I don't care how many of them got hosed for this. This has nothing to do with me today. I can go into any restaurant and order anything I want. This has nothing to do with me, baby. Politics are going to do you in if you have that mindset. It has everything to do with you. It does.
Yeah, because most of those people haven't experienced racism. At least they don't know they have.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
They definitely have, but these kids don't even realize
Most
it.
of them don't realize what they've experienced. They've experienced it.
Unless it's right in your face.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And that's the problem that I think they got. You know, I can sit back right now and say, hell, I've been here a long time. I don't think I ever experienced racism. I hear people get pulled over by the police all the time, regular people. And you see these videos and stuff, be like, that never will happen to me, but it will.
Until it does.
Until it does.
It happened to me.
And that's what I'm saying, until it does. And then, but I know I done been in spaces with other people who made me really feel uncomfortable. And I felt the uncomfortableness at a reason like, I don't really feel this. And I knew, and that was a form of racism. It was something, the way they said, the way they operated, the way they treated me. Even
the way
if
they don't even look in your eyes.
Even if they would if they treat you nice. You know, I mean, because you racism and them treating you racist doesn't mean they got to be mean to you. They could be,
and I think that's
very,
the thing.
very nice and be straight up racist.
Some
in
of
your
them have
face.
mastered the art of passive racism.
Yeah, and I think I remember I did this test kind of because I was in this group at Case, and it was called Sustained Dialogue. And so we would get together and have conversations about sensitive issues. And in this particular group, a white woman was asked, why do you all get so upset when you called a racist? You can call a black woman a B, you can call her this, that, but you all get livid when somebody calls you a racist. And she said, because immediately my mind goes to KKK and hoods. And so I said, you ain't got all the other stuff in between? Like, we done missed all of this other stuff that falls into racism? And she said, no. So I started asking white people, y'all. I started asking white people that same question, and their mind immediately goes to KKK and hoods. And so if they're not a part of the KKK or white supremacist group, then they don't see their acts as racism. Because they only can go to this level of extremity versus what we classify as racism. And I think about the racist hierarchy. And I think about what Ibram Kendi said. Ibram Kendi, in his book, he talks about this whole idea of microaggressions, but he says it's microabuse. And so for those of you who don't know, microaggressions are those everyday insults, verbal and nonverbal, slight slurs that go against marginalized communities. And this is what we experience every day on a daily basis.
And it is abuse.
And it is abuse. And I tell people, if you experience a microaggression every day of the week, or even once a week, think about the accumulation or a cumulative fact of that, is that it kills you. The stressors. So when they declare racism as a public health crisis, that's real.
But it was so shocking for so many people. And I'm like, how is this so shocking? Northeast Ohio. Why is this such a shocking thing? Like, we don't know what we encounter. Like, we don't know what we put out there into the world every single day when we go out here. I know a lot of them are blind to their own passive aggressive racism and all those things. But once you start having that conversation of what does the racism that people that look like me put out there, once you start having those conversations and you realize you are doing those same things and you do not change your behaviors, you're choosing that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that is your lineage and you're comfortable with that.
Oh, definitely. Because it's easy to walk, as I said this earlier, it's easy to walk in privilege. If you've never been touched by it, then you don't have to change.
Yeah.
You know,
And even if you've been touched by it, then you become so woke
Right.
that now you know my story better than me. Now that's another podcast.
I had when I was in the regional sewer district, we went to Biloxi. We had a little thing down, and we went to play golf in Biloxi. And that was when Biloxi was first turning around and had built its resorts and so forth. And that was with 3 white guys. And this was in 1994. So as we were riding around through this, the golf course was built, so you went through the swamp and everything. We were going through holes. And I turned to my foursome and I said, fellas, you know, just less than 30 years ago, this wouldn't be going on. The only white folks that would be behind me would be those trying to chase me and catch me, running through these woods. And they looked at me. I said, yeah, that was less than 30 years ago. But now look at us, we playing golf, having a good time. I just wanted to let y'all know what it used to be like.
I said, Mike, why you tell us that? You
Right. You just golf is over.
Good day, playing the white man golf game, drinking up his liquor.
You know how to kill a game.
Messed around chasing the white ball all around the grass. You messed around.
Right.
Came here and gave me some reality.
We were riding through these woods, man.
I got a looker over my shoulder down, man.
Think about that, man.
You know?
Think about that. So it would impact them. They thought about that. They said, damn.
But
I want us to say this, and we gonna ready to close. Everybody, for the people who want to believe that if we call you racist, it just goes back to the KKK. Just want you to understand that everybody in that time was racist, wasn't in the KKK. So when you hear that and somebody call you that, don't think KKK. Think about what we're saying. Racist. Just straight up. And what the word mean and what it is. They don't think about the KKK. The KKK is the extreme of racism.
And I think one of the things...
just think about racism, period.
Yeah, and Ibram Kendi says this, and I'm going to paraphrase this, is that you may not have been a producer of racist ideologies, but everybody's been a consumer.
That's
and
correct.
so you got to
correct.
understand that what it is. And go do some review. And white people, what I'll tell you is if you don't want to listen to us, there's some white people out there that's telling you the same thing. Go watch Robin DiAngelo. Go watch Tim Wise. Your white friends will tell you the same thing who's trying to do the work.
Jane, what's her name?
That's it.
Jane.
Oh yeah, the one that did the doll.
Yeah, the little
Right.
Yeah.
Did the doll. What is that? Doll research, doll survey, doll.
And people think this is an educational program. This ain't we hate white folks program. This is about
No, it ain't that at all.
This is about education.
Wait,
how to
how
raise
they do us? I know some good white folk.
I do too.
I know some real good white folk.
Right now, y'all still running this world too, man. So we ain't got no problems with you, but we gonna tell you what we got a problem with. That's for sure. And some of this stuff we got a problem.
We're just trying to bring
And I think we would do a disservice if we were not educating, and that's everybody. It doesn't matter what your race, gender, age, sexual orientation, anything is that our purpose is educating the masses so that we can create change.
We gonna get on these black folks. We gonna get on all of these ethnics.
Yeah.
Trust me. We just right here today.
I got something.
But y'all all gonna get some
Kenny, I
smoke.
got something for black folks right now. If you ain't voting, you're a slave. I'm gonna end it on. That's my last comment. If you don't vote,
That ain't gonna be his last comment. Y'all know that.
today for the day. If you don't vote, you might as well just go ahead and just sign up for the slave program, for the plantation.
Hey, we're gonna get ready to end this program, but this is what I want
That's
y'all
a
to
note
end
to end it on.
Exactly. I'm gonna go around and let Unicorn start with you. It's Black History Month, and we're trying to get out. If you can have it your way, and you had a message and you wanted African American black folks to get something out of this Black History Month. What is it that you want them to understand and you wish they would really get out of it?
I want y'all to practice Kwanzaa this holiday season. Practice Kwanzaa. Just even if you don't like it, if you not aligned with Pan-Africanism at all, if you like,
Hold on,
super,
we might have to edit.
We're gonna edit
A
that.
bug or something.
Got a bird over here flipping out over.
I thought you was just like agreeing over here.
Something fell on my face. Okay, sorry.
right, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna go back over it. All right, so Unicorn, it is Black History Month, and we're gonna end our program. We're gonna go around robin and let everybody tell us if you can have it your way. This is Burger King, and you can have it your way. And if there was something you wanted Black folks to get from Black History Month that you think that can change us as a community, what would that be?
Oh, just from February, just the month,
just the month of
or just what it
February.
represents.
You guys need to get
I'm a Virgo. I'm overthinking this.
Yeah, just it's February, Black History Month, and fellas and ladies, you guys need to understand this is what's important to us, and I really wish y'all would get this.
I really want y'all to sign up to be a part of the Hello Neighbor campaign during Black History Month. I'm so proud and I'm so happy to drop this. I'm not gonna cry because I'm a thug, but I'm so happy that this dropped during Black History Month. I am like, these are happy tears. And do you know how like rare happy tears are for a Black person, a Black woman in Northeast Ohio? I am so ecstatic that this has dropped. If you want the link, if you want to sign up, please do this during this month. Please get with me. You can email me at marketing@wovu.org. You can pull up at the station on me. I'm there 10 to 2 most days. Give me your handle. Yes. Yeah. On the gram, it's DJ Black Unicorn. Just no underscore, none of that. Just DJ Black Unicorn.
All right.
Yeah.
Dr. Burton.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about what would I want in Black History Month. Well, with the first way you posed it, what I was thinking about is that I was thinking of the impossible. Is that I want Black people to be the majority and have the power. That's what I want to happen in Black History Month. I want us to be the majority and us have the power. But in that is during Black History Month is think about yourself from that lens. So think about yourself as a Black person who has power to create change. Stop looking at yourself as being marginalized, being underrepresented, being this, being that, but reshape your mindset of, I am powerful, I have power, I came from king and queens. When we think about who we came from, reshape your mind to separate yourself of how we've been so idealized under whiteness, that who would you be if you had never walked this earth and lived in whiteness?
Jeez, Doctor went deep on it.
That's
what I just said. She went heavy on it. Good Lord. Go ahead. You gotta speak for us, man.
I'm gonna incorporate what they just said.
Yeah.
I just hope that Ted Ginn is blessed with additional endurance and strength to carry on the work he's doing. And the second thing for Kenn Dowell and us, that we get an opportunity to expand his signal by putting a tower up on top of this building so we can reach across this country. That's what
because we need,
and
we need y'all to like, subscribe, engage with the podcast. Even if you don't like what we say, tell us you didn't like what we said,
and tell us why.
Explain why you didn't like what we said, but engage with us. That's what we need.
So my thing is for Black History Month is everything that they said. I ditto everything that they said, but I also want us to help support Black media. And that goes for not just our podcast, that's for WOVU, the radio station that we're in. It's a community-based radio station. So a lot of people complain about the bandwidth and that, but it's because it's a community-based radio station, and it's only going to go so far. They're working on doing to get us farther, and that may go down the road, but right now, that's what it's about. And for the folks that do listen to it, we need you to support it. Support it in any way that you can. That's supporting it by giving to the organization. If you have a few extra coins that you want to give something to, give it to. The OVU is a nonprofit organization. You can give funds to that organization to help push it, because that's where we're at. Every Tuesday, you hear us on the radio. We kind of speak the same truth. We kind of trying to educate our people. So for me, for Black History Month, I just want everybody to try to do something. Try to support an organization. Try to get out there with your message, and let's come together.
And I will also add to that, Kim, when we think about us specifically on the radio, if you're listening to us, is that think about how can you use us in the community?
Correct.
So how can you have our show attend your events, which also helps us with marketing, also helps us expanding the platform. So how can we be of assistance to you with your different events that you're holding? We can host, we can be there, you can pay us, it'll work.
Oh, you heard that last part, really. Get that
You
on.
can pay us.
You pay us. Now,
It'll
listen,
work.
this was our first episode with the radio program. This was just our freestyle. We wanted to get together and just have a little conversation and talk. We're going to be coming back to you guys at least once or twice a month to just kind of bring you up to speed on what we talked about on the radio, as well as some of the topics that's going around in the country. So, to the next episode, we want to tell everybody peace, and we'll see you again.
Peace.
All right, Latif, we're good? How long we went?
About an hour.
Oh,
Yep, I was about to
excellent.
say, I
We
thought
did
it was
perfect.
at least an hour and a half,
We
an hour
were
and
perfect.
20. That's what you wanted, was an hour and a half?
Yeah, because I can edit it down
To do about 45 apiece?
about an hour.
Oh, once
I like mine to be about an hour.
Calling me, man. I gotta
But
call me.
an hour and a half usually is right because it always takes us a while to warm up. And so once I get through all of the stuff in the beginning,
glitches.
yeah, we be in the end. That's where we get started talking. And then it usually work out
It's
well.
all good, man.